What's going on, guys? We have the patch 10.17 patch notes, and today it's going to be a little different from all the other patches we've been through because as I'm saying this, the patch is now live. I don't know why, but they just decided to do it that way. Normally the patch comes out on Wednesday, so by the time it's like Wednesday morning in anywhere in the US, the patch is generally out. But right now it's nighttime on Tuesday, so I don't know why that happened, but in case you are wondering, if you are like playing a game while watching this video, you might want to keep watching because your game is probably being played on this new patch. So let's just get right into it. The galaxies, we are getting a new galaxy called Manatees Delight. All players receive a spatula at the start of the game. And so this is like having those all spat carousels, but if you look at the top of your map as a carousel is starting the game and you notice that it's a Manatees Delight map, you might want to go for an item that completes a certain spatula item that you'd like to build for your composition. I'm not saying do it all the time because obviously everyone's thinking the same thing. So if everyone's thinking the same thing, everyone's going for one composition and then it becomes a little crowded. But it's just something to keep in mind as we play this galaxy. Next up, Binary Star has been removed from the rotation. I am so glad that this happened, not because I didn't like the galaxy, but because everyone always asks me, what do I play on Binary Star? Please help on Binary Star. So I'm glad I don't have to answer those questions anymore. Hopefully we could focus on all the other galaxies, and luckily I didn't make a video about it either because it wouldn't be really relevant anymore. But that's off topic. Let's get into the items. Titan's Resolve max stacks changed from 50 to 25. So there are a couple implications about this. So Titan's Resolve is an item that we all know. You generally build it on the mech unit, and when the wearer takes damage or inflicts a critical hit, they gain a 2% stacking damage bonus, stacking up to 50 times, so now it's 25 times, at which point the wearer gains 25 armor and magic resistance and increases in size. So what does this change mean? This change means that there's only a set amount of damage that you can stack up to, which is now 50% damage bonus, but even though that's a damage nerf, you do get the tank stats slightly quicker, because before you need to get to 50 stacks before getting the 25 armor and magic resistance bonus. Now you only need to get to 25 stacks. So I like this change for a couple of reasons. One, mech was pretty broken, and this is one of the best items on the mech. Two, now other units can potentially use this item because other units can get to 25 stacks. Much more easily than they can get to 50. A lot of units, they get to 50 and then they die right before it or die right as they get it. So it doesn't really make sense to build this item on a lot of units in last patch. So overall, I do like this change a little bit. But now it's more of a tank item, less of a damage item. But I still think it's going to be pretty playable overall on the mech. And hopefully we could see it on some other compositions. Maybe like Jace in Vanguard composition can use it pretty well. I'm just spitballing out here, but I'm sure there are a bunch of other champions that can use it now, hopefully. Handed Justice damage and healing reduced from 50% to 45%. Very deserved nerf because Handed Justice was a little too strong in another mech change. But yeah, it's a pretty good change. It was pretty broken on champions like Darius. You could put it on like any sort of carry in the later game as like the 50-50. It was just really broken. So I'm glad that they made this change. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention, this patch is pretty small because Riot is on vacation right now, so yeah, I guess they didn't want to make too much, so they don't have to test as much for this week. Trait changes, sniper damage bonus is now nerfed by 1% at 2 sniper and 2% at 4 sniper. So keep in mind, this is bonus damage per hex, so the further someone is away from you, the more damage you do. So it does add up if you're talking about like max range damage. But Astro Sniper was a pretty good composition. Did it deserve a nerf? I don't really think so because it's such a 1st or 8th composition. But this is one way that they can tone it down a little bit. A lot of people are figuring out different ways to play Astro Sniper so that it's more flexible than it has been in the past. Some people have been doing a 4 Vanguard version. I've seen like a 2 Brawler 2 Vanguard version played in Europe a bunch. Of course, there's a classic 4 Sniper build. There are a lot of different builds, and I guess people are learning how to master the composition, so that's how it got a lot stronger in some ways. But I didn't really think the nerf was that necessary because I don't think the composition was that strong. It's like if you don't hit your units, you're so screwed. So I think it was balanced in that sense. Next, let's move on to the champions. Jarvan's armor reduced by 45 to 40. I don't know how I feel about that. Protectors are good, don't get me wrong, but I don't think they're like that broken in the current state. Also, like Shredder, while it's good, it's only good in certain galaxies. So I don't really like this change overall. But maybe they found some information that said Jarvan was super, super OP still. I don't think he is, but I'd like to see like a buff to the other protectors, maybe to Xin Zhao to accommodate for this or compensate for this. But next up, we have Poppy. Magic resist increased from 30 to 35. I actually think Poppy's a pretty good unit. She's one of the best early game units and probably the best tank carry in stage 2 because she doesn't die with her shield. So if you put like an Ionic Spark on her, she's great at carrying that. Probably one of the best carriers of the item, actually. But I guess they maybe wanted to have her played a little more in the late game, and that's why they buffed her magic resist. Not really too sure, but I didn't really think she needed to be touched. So next up, we have Blitzcrank. Armor increased from 45 to 60. That is actually quite a considerable jump. Blitzcrank, I think, is very good. Chrono Brawler, I mean, he's played in every Jinx comp, right? He's got a pretty decent ability. I guess Blaster Brawler is a little weaker compared to all the other compositions, but if you're nerfing everything else slightly, such as like nerfing mech here, nerfing the snipers here, I don't really think you need to buff one of the champions in Blaster Brawler that much. Maybe they want to activate some other builds. Maybe like there's a 6 Chrono build that they want to buff a little bit too. I'm not really too sure, but I don't think this is going to change that much of the game either. I just don't see why they did it. Cassiopeia Noxious Blast damage is now being increased at 3-star Cassio. I like this change a lot. There wasn't much incentive to go for Cass 3. It's really good if you get it for free, but it's not something that you're like, oh, I'm going to go for Cass 3 when I play Vanguard Mystic. It doesn't happen that often. Only on like reroll Galaxy or like maybe if you have so much gold and you get like 2 Cass 2s for no reason, maybe you go for Cass 3 at that point. But I mean, it doesn't make that much of a difference, but at least it gives it a little bigger incentive to go for it. Master Yi, Chosen One damage is reduced damage by 5 damage at all levels. Okay, so Master Yi is nerfed. Master Yi, he's like one of those champions where, similar to Astro Sniper, he's either super, super strong or super, super weak, depending on if you hit him, when you hit him, what items you have. I don't think the Blademaster comp was that good. I know that one of the best players in North America just qualified for the World Championship using the 6 Blademasters as one of his compositions, but I don't know. He did get Master Yi 3 in a lot of his games, so I don't really think that Master Yi needed to be nerfed because I think he had like very good starts and mid games in those games. But I'm not really too sure. Maybe the data is saying that everywhere else, Master Yi is a little too strong, but these nerfs are pretty minor, so I don't think it'll change that much in the end anyways. Neeko Pop Blossom damage is being nerfed at level 3. Again, a little unnecessary. Neeko 3 is really good, but I don't see too many Neeko 3s. It's only really built in the Star Guardian composition, but even then, Neeko's more broken because of her items. Granted, like level 3 Neeko, it is super, super good because with the Warmogs, with the Protector buff, she pretty much never dies, but even at level 2, she's really hard to kill, so I don't really think they needed to touch her that much. I kind of thought they wanted to incentivize going for the 3-star, so it does seem a little weird that they're only nerfing the 3-star Neeko. Shaco's armor is reduced by 5. I completely agree with this. He's one of the strongest infiltrators, just because Darkstar was very good for a while in Mech Infiltrator. He's like the go-to mid-game infiltrator. Even though they don't itemize him, he's still very strong because he sometimes just randomly kills your backline carry, and that can be very annoying because you could stack like 3 items on your backline damage dealer. Shaco with no items just kills him randomly, assisted by like a Victor laser. It's a little annoying, right? Riven buffed by 50 health and 10 magic resistance. This doesn't change Riven at all. Riven's not played right now because Jhin is played a lot, but maybe the Astro Sniper nerf makes it a little less incentivized to play Astro Sniper. I think Astro Sniper is still going to be played just as much as it is now, but Riven's only bad because Jhin exists. Force Shot just kills Riven. She works off of getting like a constant shield, so any burst damage would be a counter to her, whereas slow damage, not so good against Riven. But this change doesn't do anything to help her against Jhin, so I don't think this helps her at all. Tier 5 champions, Gangplank Orbital Strike is now being nerfed at levels 1 and 2 by 25 damage. I don't think that really changes anything. I think Gangplank, he doesn't quite one-shot everything, so this keeps him at that state where he doesn't quite one-shot anything still. Unless you have like double strike or something, or like double hat. So overall, like, I don't think this changes that much at all, but I'm glad they do weaken him a tiny bit because he was pretty OP, mainly because mech was OP. You play like Gangplank and mech, sometimes he randomly goes off. Sometimes if you get him early in Space Pirates, he's a little too strong. And sometimes with Jinx comps, he's a little too strong too if you have the right items. So I guess this nerf is kind of justified. I wish they just gave like the Jinx comps a little something extra to make up for this, because Jinx is kind of like the weakest forecast carry right now. And if they nerf one of the late game outs that they have, it kind of makes her not as good, right? I don't know how they do it though, because I don't want to just flat out buff Jinx. Maybe buffing like Ezreal might be an idea because Ezreal's played a lot with the Jinx. But next up we have Zerath. Bombardment damage is now being increased by 20 at level 1 and 40 at level 2. That makes sense. I always said Zerath was like a little weak. He only works with perfect items. So even if you get him 2-starred for free, a lot of people, like the stronger players, they don't actually play him unless they have the right items for him. So that doesn't really make sense because I feel like if you get a 2-star legendary, you probably should have to play it and it should do at least decently well. And it should probably replace one of your synergy units, but that was never the case for Zerath. It still isn't the case with this change, but maybe it makes it so that if you have the right items, he wins even harder. His splash damage is also being buffed by 5 damage at level 1 and 10 damage at level 2. I think that's it for this patch. Pretty small patch, but again, if you're playing on live right now, or like as soon as you see this video, just know that this patch is live. Normally when I release this, it is on Tuesday, which it is today. It's still Tuesday, but they release a patch on Wednesday. So like Wednesday morning, all the changes would go in, but this is live right now, so just keep that in mind, and good luck out there. Yeah, I'll probably be streaming on Friday and Saturday and Sunday, and I do have a new video coming out, which you guys, I think, will like a lot. I won't spoil too much about it, but it is about like one of the tournament champions we've had recently, so definitely look out for that. If you are new, go ahead and hit the subscribe button. If this video helped you, go ahead and hit the like. And if you have been to the channel before, you might have noticed that there's a join button right beneath the video now, and that is for the channel memberships, and that is one way to support the channel. If you do get a membership, you get like a special Discord role. There are a bunch of other perks you could read about. You get a shout out in the next video, but just go ahead and check that out if you want to support the channel even more than you already have been. But apart from that, I will see you guys next time. Hey guys, thanks so much for watching. Don't forget to share and subscribe, and of course smash that like button. Each like is an LP I gain before the next video.